Most of you have heard about the declaration of war by Israel upon Hamas. And that war is escalating. It seems like the entire world, the war drums are beating. There's a thirst for revenge, a thirst for blood. If you are a disciple of Christ, stay out of it. Don't allow your thinking to become like it is within the world, where the mindset is to support war, to support Israel, to support the Ukrainians. Disciples of Christ will not allow themselves to be drawn into the thinking of this world. Jesus said at Matthew chapter 5, verse 9, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." We want to be children of God. We do not want to think the way the world thinks. There are lots of Christians right now, and I see them out there. They're not calling for peace. They're not calling for a cessation of bloodshed, of war. I also know this too, that there are many Christians who believe that Israel, this Israel, is God's chosen people. This is not true. And they base this on what's written at Revelation chapter 7. If one looks at Revelation chapter 7, beginning at verses 1 down through verse 8, it lists the 12 tribes of Israel. And within each tribe, 12,000 sealed, equating to 144,000 sealed. Now, I'll do another video on that. That 144,000 and that sealing has not occurred yet. The 144,000 has not arrived yet. In fact, if one studies the book of Revelation, as I have many times, and I still study it, because I want to know every inch of it, every corner of it, one will learn and one will conclude that the events written down in the book of Revelation have not had a start of fulfillment yet. The start of the fulfillment of the events within the book of Revelation are more than 1,000 years yet future. There's no beast. There's no image of the beast. There's no 144,000. There's no 12 tribes of Israel. But like what I had mentioned a few moments ago about the 12 tribes listed there at Revelation chapter 7, beginning at verse 1 through 8, if one takes a piece of paper and write down those 12 tribes listed there, and then go to Genesis chapter 49 and write down the 12 sons listed there, you'll find they're not the same. And why is that? Because the 12 tribes listed in Revelation chapter 7 are not literal Israel. See, not all who say they're Israel are Israel. And it's not on our determination, that is human beings, to determine who Israel is. God does that choosing. Now, what's listed there at Revelation chapter 7, this is a new Israel. This will be a new Israel for the new heavens and the new earth and the new Jerusalem, that is the new city that comes down from God out of heaven, mentioned at Revelation chapter 21, verses 1 and 2. This will be a new Israel. These will be persons who come out of all other nations, who fear God and who does what is right. If we go to Romans chapter 2, verse 28 and 29, I mentioned this scripture before in other videos. The Apostle Paul writes, "A Jew is not a Jew because of a literal circumcision, or by some outwardly appearance, or under some written code, that's a law covenant, but one who is one inwardly, and by circumcision of the heart, and by the Spirit." So this is a new Israel, not the Israel that we see today. The thinking among many is still down here on the lower plane of this world. Our thought processes must be much higher, much loftier. This is a new Jerusalem. An individual commented on a video that I did, and he mentioned that God is going to destroy Esau, that is, white people. And I replied back that no, all of the nations must go. And I quoted Daniel chapter 2:44. He or she replied saying nope, but gave no explanation as to what nope was. Didn't even address Daniel 2:44. And there are many who do that. They push right past the obvious scriptures because they really don't have an answer. They simply prefer to believe the lie or something that they were told, and they cling to that, and they don't want to let go in spite of being shown other scriptures that show that their thinking is in error. So it's not one race among the human family that God's going to deal with, and as if that's going to solve the world's problems. All of the nations must go. And even as I speak right now, the war drums are being played. A lot of people are going to get wealthy because of war. War is very profitable. And once one tastes blood, they want more blood. That's why we will never see peace under human rule in the Middle East. There's a small strip of land called Gaza on the west side, the West Bank there. And that's where the Palestinians are encamped. But prior to that, all of that land that's called Israel today was Palestine. Now, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm not anti-Palestinian. I'm anti-war, and I'm pro-truth. I do not believe that one should take the mindset that this Israel is God's chosen people, so Israel has a license to do as it pleases. Israel is not innocent. The press, the mass media, only gives us one side of that story. If one goes into Palestine and see how the Palestinians live, it's like being in a prison. See, that's the side that the world doesn't see. What is presented to the world is how bad the Palestinians are. But like I said, Israel is not innocent either. People don't lash out at others just to lash out. Something causes people to react a certain way. Am I down with the many people who were killed by Hamas, according to the press? No, I'm not. I'm not down with Israel killing people either, prior to that event. If one looks at the death toll, I would venture to say that Israel has caused more death and destruction than little old Hamas or the Palestinians there in that little strip of land of Gaza. But the press doesn't bring that to you. So if there were, and I believe that there are, and there have been, many atrocities made upon the Palestinians, we're not going to hear about those. I know a few individuals who live in Israel to this day, and to hear them speak, they have an intense hate of Palestinians. It's the very same type of hate that many bigoted and racist white people have towards black people. It's just like that. It's that same vein, that same intense hatred, just because they're Palestinians. Kill them all, destroy them all, just because. There's no talk of coexistence. There's no talk of peace. And I believe that the Palestinians know that. So if you are a follower of Christ, stay out of it. Don't allow your thinking to be like the thinking of the world. Don't beat the drums of war. If anything, if you speak of peace, speak of love, speak of reconciliation, speak of understanding, speak of forgiveness. Stay out of the thinking of this world. if you are a true follower of Christ. What would anyone think Jesus would do? Do you think he would be okay with the fighting between the Palestinians and Israel? The Palestinians and Israel have very deep historical ties and connections. If one thinks about it, they're really brothers, like Cain and Abel. And yet there's war and bloodshed. Bloodletting begets bloodletting. Revenge begets revenge. The thirst for getting even, the thirst for blood, it doesn't stop. One must look at the reason why people react the way they do. We just can't look at the surface of things anymore. And the news media, they're going to steer you and bring you to the surface. They don't want you to look behind or underneath the hood to find out why, say, the Palestinians, Hamas, Hezbollah, others, react as they do. What the news media will tell you that these are terrorists. Well, did anyone call the United States government terrorists when they bombed Iraq into submission? When they went to Libya and took out their leader, Omar Gaddafi? See, we are not, the labeling of terrorist isn't placed upon those with the biggest guns and the biggest weapons. So look at both sides of the story. Look underneath the hood to determine why people react the way they do, right or wrong, to come to understand those things. Don't allow the mass media to mold your thinking. You've got to think for yourself. And this applies to also the teachings that issue forth out of Christianity. Christianity will tell people anything, especially lies, and be convincing about it, and people will believe it. And I say to you, the truth will never be popular in this world. And I am thoroughly convinced the reason why this channel doesn't get a lot of views like the many other channels out there, who I know those individuals are not speaking the truth, they have a different agenda. It's because this channel speaks and teaches the truth. The truth is not popular. I could easily start lying to you and saying the very same things that these other YouTubers are saying. And I guarantee you, if I join their thinking and their belief set, I would have a ton of likes, a ton of views, and a ton of subscribers, because I will be telling persons what they want to hear. I can't do that. So be careful. Don't allow yourselves to beat those drums of war and join the world in this mess. Step away from it. Stand before Christ. This is R. Jerome Harris, the disciple. Thank you for listening.